All right. Hey, everyone. So, something that I am beyond passionate about is coaching and helping women get out of their own way and their relationship with their self and with their romantic relationships. And today I have Sam on, which I'm so excited about, someone that has recently completed my Bulletproof You program. And so we're just going to chat. We're going to hear all the things. She's going to share her insights, where she was at, what the transformation looked like, and what she's working on next. And for anyone that's ever been in the hot seat, you know what this feels like. For people just watching, it takes a lot of courage, a lot of bulletproof bravery to get on here. So, Sam, welcome. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I'm a mom. I have two kids, two boys. I'm married. I was working in on a sales team for Carter Lumber before COVID happened, and then that happened, and now I'm staying home with my mom, or as a stay-at-home mom. My husband and I are both Navy, so he's active duty, I'm reservist, and we actually just bought a house in Virginia.
Ooh.
So we're moving soon.
That's awesome.
So that's exciting. But yeah, I'm a mom. Like, that's my life.
Well, and I was thinking about this as I was reflecting when you reached out to me. She did this when she had COVID, guys. Like, what? She had COVID, and she's still messaging me about how she's going to make this happen. And I'm like, that's my kind of person. I was like, get it, girl. So let's dive into some of your story,
Okay.
where you've been at. Again, this is a super vulnerable space, so I want you to share as much or as little as what you want, and then what it took for you to reach out to me.
Okay, so I'll just start back from the very beginning. I don't like to go back to like I don't like when people compare themselves to when they were 16, because it's just like you're not even close to the same person, but I'm going to do that. When I was younger, I didn't have a lot of like insecurities or, of course I was a teenage girl, so I thought about weight and my looks, but I wasn't obsessed to the point that it bothered me or gave me anxiety, anything like that. I felt like a very confident young woman back then. Then I joined the Navy. So I came from this really small town, and then left for the Navy. Boot camp in itself was a very humbling experience, but the most humbling experience of my life was being overseas, living in Japan. I lived with people who, every different kind of person that walked the earth are the people that I lived on the ship with. And that was the first time in my life that I didn't feel important. And not that I was ever a very conceited person or anything like that, but again, I was confident in who I was, and all of that was challenged immensely through my 3 years in Japan. And, people say things to you for a multitude of reasons. Are they envious of you? Do they really just don't like you? Do they feel those things maybe? So that was like my first experience with I guess being bullied. I don't know that it was true bullying to the sense of that word, but that's what it felt like. Sometimes I felt like I was constantly having to like reassure myself, starting to look for reassurances from other people. And then that creates a whole different kind of person that you don't want to be. So that's kind of where it started for me. And then I got off of active duty and came home, but the transition for me wasn't just leaving Navy life and then getting acclimated with civilian life, because I was pregnant when I came home. So there were so many new things that I was having to deal with. A new relationship, this new pregnancy, my life without the Navy, which would be a totally different conversation for anyone to be able to understand that. But so that's sort of where the insecurities started with me. But the body changes, like the changes in my weight and like my thinking, all of that mental attitudiness really changed after I had our first son, Dorian.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wasn't ever treated, but I had like postpartum depression. And it was very evident the moment I gave birth. I developed seriously low self-esteem. I mean, if you are a mother, and you go through those changes, um, even if physically you don't look that different afterward, you feel like totally different. So
Mm-hmm.
that was an adjustment that I was never really able to conquer,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. And then it took until Dorian was 2 for me to start feeling like myself again.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he was 2.5, I found out I was pregnant with Max. So a lot of decisions I think that I made in my past are like sort of what haunted me to get me where I was when
Mm-hmm.
this journey started.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, I saw a lot of the stuff that you put out. I follow a lot of your stuff. I have since you started.
Mm-hmm.
But it was Amy's story that I thought, okay,
Go, Amy.
I felt like maybe I could relate to her, like prior to her getting into this with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, there are a lot of things I'm not private about, but when it comes to like my own insecurities, like most people, I keep that to myself.
Mm-hmm. That shame. You're like, no one else is going to get this. They're going to judge me.
Right. Or just the fact that I felt like I shouldn't be a wimp about it. Like, you can figure this out. You don't need to take a course. You don't need to, you know what your issues are, fix them. That kind of attitude.
And that stubborn attitude,
Yeah.
like, I've got this. I've gotten everything else in my life. Let me just go ahead and tackle this too. It's just food.
Right. And not that I thought Amy was like a stubborn
Right.
person, because I don't know her that personally, but it was her story that kind of made me think, okay, I'm going to reach out to Megan and just see like what really is this all about.
Mm-hmm.
And when I found out that I didn't have to have like ongoing constant communication with you every single day, I was like, I can do this. Like, I'm not committed to like being somewhere and having to talk to somebody every day. I can do this on my own, which is what I was
Mm-hmm.
looking for. So that's really why I decided to pull the plug and just do it.
That's so interesting because some people have the exact opposite. They're like, I need you. Don't leave me by myself. SOS. Like, I need your help. So it's so interesting that you think like that. Like, okay, I can navigate and I can make sure that this fits like a puzzle in my life. And she's there if I need her, but I don't have to have appointments and meetings and one more thing on my schedule.
Right. Yeah. I have like no time in the day. So, and part of that is like my own fault. Cause I make priorities, obviously. And since becoming a mom, I would have to say that naturally you just put yourself at the bottom of that priority list. So
Mm-hmm. That back burner lifestyle.
yeah.
That everybody talks about.
Yeah.
Like, one day I will XYZ. So, okay, this is again, someone said on here, I could watch all this later on my lunch break. Love you, Ray. So it could be your mom.
That might be Mary Hoyland.
Or it could be because it doesn't have the name on it yet. So I'll find out later. But do you want to talk a little bit, just dive deep a little bit into what you were actually struggling with beyond like the self-worth?
Sorry, say that one more time. You kind of broke up.
No, do you want to dive in a little bit deeper into the actual battles that you were facing, that were coming on a little bit stronger, where you felt like they were controlling you a little bit? You had
Oh, yeah. So I would probably say 90% of my day is consumed with thoughts of food. And a lot of that is like an inside my brain battle, like why I want to eat this, but I know I shouldn't eat that, but tomorrow I'll start. I'll do better tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it's like this self-loathing process where you talk very unkindly to yourself. Like you're fat. It's going to take so long to change this. So just enjoy the McChicken now. Who cares? We'll deal with the rest tomorrow. And then, you know, the worst part too is I've always been someone that would rather wear athletic clothing than like anything cute. But that's also very detrimental when you're someone that can sit around and eat like a half gallon of ice cream, which we'll get to the binge eating. If it comes to like wearing jeans or a cute outfit to go out somewhere, there's usually a process like an hour long where I've cussed out my entire closet. My hair then is the worst hair that anyone could have ever been given. I have a second face when I'm putting on my makeup, and that's like the fat. And then it turns into jokes. My sister and I will Snapchat like extremely ugly angles of ourselves to each other, because you have to bring light to the situation. But it doesn't make you feel better.
Right.
And then, you know, late at night when everyone's asleep and you're like, well, no one saw me eat the McChicken because I did that in my car. I mean, I'll talk about it. I'll tell you that I ate it and I'll make you think that it's funny and we laugh about it, but I feel horrible about it. And then I come home and, you know, oh, are you not hungry? You're not eating? No, I'm not really hungry right now. And then everyone goes to bed and you can eat like a whole bag of chips with chip dip. And then like the whole thing, like the whole bag, the whole container of dip, followed by literally a half gallon of ice cream.
And I'm gonna pause on this because I have people that sometimes get confused with this, but we related because we both have been there. So emotional eating is different than a binge. Emotional eating, people do that all the time, like especially with COVID, like, oh, there's more sweets. Oh, we're home. Oh, wine, chocolate. Oh, wine and chocolate. It's only 1 p.m. Like, let me have all the things. But a binge is completely different. It's almost like, and you can tell me some of your experience too, but it's almost like you're seeking something to numb in a way, and you don't even know exactly what it is. Sometimes it's just an escape because you know it's going to take you to a different place, almost like drugs do to people that take drugs or alcohol or whatever. And the amount that you can consume in a short amount of time is mind-boggling. Just mind-boggling. It's like,
and sickeningly satisfying.
Yes. And but then the aftermath is so terrible because you've got the bloat. Like for me, when I struggle with this big time, I would have to wear, I don't know if I've ever told you this or not, but I would have to wear sweatshirts to then go to the gym the next day because like my stomach looked like I was pregnant because I consumed so much and I had to hide it because I was, ashamed. And so then my mentality was, you got to work this off. Let's go. I'm on the Stairmaster for like forever long because I'm beating myself up for what I couldn't control. And so with the binge, it feels for real like it's out of your control. Like you can't stop it. Like,
right.
Give me all the things. And while you're doing it, you're like, tomorrow, this will be my last one.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that's how you felt too, but it is not like for people who have never struggled with food, they think, oh, it's just food. It's not just food when you have a struggle with it. And so I think being brave and being able to talk about that is amazing because I know what, if I would have had someone recording me during a binge and it went viral, imagine that. Like, oh,
I'm moving.
What'd you say?
I'm moving.
Don't ever contact me. I'm changing my name. Yeah, but I mean, it becomes this embarrassing thing because so many people, we think that are out there aren't struggling with it. And that has to change because it truly can take away part of your life. And for me, I'm so passionate about because I had a friend of mine who was very close to me who passed away because of this. Right. And so, I always think back to what I could have done differently and what I could have taught her, the things that I know now and stuff. So I never try to take that lightly. When people struggle with it, I'm like, this has to change.
Yeah.
And it starts with not beating yourself up. So, so you said you saw Amy's stuff, like you saw Amy worked with me and you're like, okay, I need to reach out to Meg. So then when you did reach out to me, were you scared?
Not really. I mean, this is the part that is uncomfortable for me, obviously. It's different to talk to somebody one-on-one in a private DM. And I share these things with my parents too. Like, I don't like, I'm not gonna let them see me inhale all the food that I can.
Right.
But the next day, in joking manners, I will tell them, how I, ate like a whole half gallon of ice cream or whatever. But that reaching out to you wasn't scary to me, but knowing that this is what I would be doing was intimidating, very intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I'm sure if I would have said, no, I'm not doing it, you would have been like, okay.
Yeah.
So I wasn't forced by any means, but also, like, what's the point if you don't share your experiences?
Mm-hmm.
I think, half of the point to this is to encourage others to sort of overcome those things too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, I wouldn't say that I was scared, but knowing that I would have to be vulnerable in this kind of setting was intimidating to me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so when Sam started, she chose to do the DIY version of my Bulletproof program, and basically what it is, like a lot of women, they think, oh, I just got to fix the external stuff, then I'll be happy. Oh, I just have to cut out the food stuff, then I'll be happy. Oh, I just have to get the perfect relationship, then I'll be happy. All the things. And so that what that does is it puts happiness outside of you when truly, like, it has to come from within. It's already inside of you, but you got to figure out what's blocking it. Like, what is preventing you from seeing how awesome you are? And how do I help you get out of your own way? Usually it starts with the body stuff. So she chose to do this program while she was sick with COVID, and she still did it. And so it was a 6-week journey. And I remember checking in with you one day and just saying, like, what do you think so far? And she sent me a message back saying, wow, it's nothing like what I thought. I thought it was going to be a lot of food stuff, a lot of or I think you said food stuff and like workout type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, that stuff is coming. Like, that's at the end. Like, you've probably seen all the videos and stuff on that, but we can't address that first until we figure out the roots of why you're doing this. And
Right.
usually it's a lack of self-worth. So what did you think as you started diving in, and just kind of explain some of what it was like?
So aside, I think also I want to address this before I answer your question fully. I think a lot of people who think if you are overweight, if you struggle with binge eating or any sort of eating disorders or anything like that, then there's also this like misconception that you're not working out, the gym and all of that might be a little more foreign to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't understand. And I think that that's the total opposite. So I think I won't use her name in this interview, but there's someone who has been a part of my fitness journey since I was 16. And so while I wasn't necessarily obsessed with things at that age, I think I was developing unhealthy habits also, not knowing that I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And through life, I mean, she's 10 years older than me, but I've always gone to her about food, about workouts. So I'm very aware of myself. I'm very aware of like, I know how to work out. I know how to eat right. Well, I know what that takes, what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But for the first time, because I had developed so many unhealthy habits at a younger age, and then allowed like self-loathing to happen, it just got out of control. Mm-hmm. So I don't want anyone to think that, like, I can't believe that, like, Sam doesn't know how to work out, or like, how to make meal plans and things like that. That's not the issue. Like, mm-hmm. exactly what you said. It's something happened inside of you that made you choose a different route.
Yep.
So for me, as much as motherhood is a joy and should be a joy, it's also a huge struggle. I think naturally put yourself last. And I think that that's a good thing too, because you have two humans that, or however many humans you have,
Mm-hmm.
that depend on you. So, I mean, and you understand this because, is it Joy or Joey?
Mm-hmm. Yep, Joy.
So,
Looks like Joey, but it's Joy.
even though
Mm-hmm.
you didn't birth her, you know that when she's there, you know, she comes first. And
Yep.
so a lot of times there's the mom guilt, like,
Mm-hmm.
I can't go to the gym because if I go to the gym, then um, it's in the evening and I haven't seen my kids all day because I was working or because they were at school or whatever. So I
Mm-hmm.
need to be at home making dinner, like tending to homework, spending time with them before they go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And then so you start making these excuses, using mom guilt, all of that. And then, so just adjusting to like life as a mom,
Mm-hmm.
wanting to have a career and all of that was huge for me. But through this, I always knew too that I was a perfectionist. And sometimes that doesn't look the way people expect it to look. Like
Yep.
if I tell you I'm a perfectionist, you expect to come into my home and see like immaculate floors and
Mm-mm.
um, just perfection.
Mm-hmm.
um I would say that this is something that I got from my mom. She is a perfectionist, but when you become so obsessed with perfection, you develop anxiety. You
Mm-hmm.
don't It's almost like you don't even know where to begin because you've let things get so out of control because you
Mm-hmm.
wanted it to be so perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me it would be like, okay, for example, I have a calendar on my wall. I look at it every day because that's the only way I can remember things. And I'll say, okay, it's the 18th, Sunday the 18th. I'm going to wait until Sunday the 25th. So I'm going to have one more last hurrah this week. I'm going to eat whatever I want. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
do whatever I want. And so Sunday the 25th is I'm going to start and I'm going to be like, it's going to be perfect. I'm going to get up. I'm going to make my smoothie for breakfast. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
go on my 5 mile run, which by the way, I have literally ran more in the past 8 weeks than I've ran since
I've
I've had
seen that.
children. And I've only lost 4 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so when people tell you, side note, that 80% of your physique is based on your diet and 20% is your workouts, please believe that because I've tried to make this untrue for years and it is
Yep.
not
Not
untrue.
be wrong. It's gotta be wrong. I gotta be an outlier.
So I would start on a Sunday and Sunday would be perfect. You know, I would, all the laundry would be done. There would be no dust in the house and everything would be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then Monday morning would come and for whatever reason, I wake up in funks sometimes. I don't know if, yeah, I'm a moody person and I don't know if that's because I'm a female or if that's because there is some sort of like mental illness that I have. I don't think I do, but I do get into these moments where it's like, okay, one day, 12 hours ago could have been like my ideal of perfect. And then now I don't want to get out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't pay me to eat the smoothie or drink the smoothie I had yesterday morning because now I
Mm-hmm.
want chocolate chip pancakes
Mm-hmm.
loaded in syrup. And so perfection has played a big role in like my unsuccess
Mm-hmm.
and with food, my unhealthy relationship with food. If it's not perfect from the start of the day, then it's done. I'm going to McDonald's. I'm self-loathing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was probably the biggest thing that I found out about myself. I mean, I already knew I was that way, but not to this extreme.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it
So
crazy how sometimes, like, for a perfectionist, you think, like, worst case scenario, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have, like, my house is a mess, like, I don't have time, I'm not working out, we got laundry everywhere, and I'm not, like, people are making Pinterest meals, and, I'm just making this heated up thing from leftovers or whatever. And it's like, dude, like, you're already living worst case scenario right now. So if that's your worst case scenario, the next thing is just try to do one little thing that's gonna get you
yeah,
better than
one
this
little
worst case
thing. Yeah.
scenario. Yep.
Yeah. Because I mean, then that would be why I would binge watch a show and binge eat ice cream.
Mhm.
Because I wanted to ignore, the fact that I didn't go work out today or the fact that I didn't, like, I have a to-do list every day And if I didn't do that to-do list, like the whole thing, it was a
Mhm.
fail. And so now I'm
Failure, I'm done. Like,
yeah, I'm done. And so now, and if I wouldn't, like people say, don't buy those things that you binge eat. It doesn't matter, because I will wait till
get them.
everyone's asleep, and at 10 o'clock at night, I will go right down the street to the gas station and load up. You know,
Yep.
it doesn't matter.
Yep.
So, and that was my way of ignoring the fact that I didn't want to address my issues with perfectionism.
Mm-hmm.
I would just rather throw Monday in the trash can, binge eat, watch a show or 5 episodes, feel bad for myself, and start over Tuesday.
Well, and that's, I think, a lot of the times where that mood the following day, not to say we as women and men, we fluctuate in moods, like that's just guaranteed. But sometimes I think it's the self-loathing for not doing a certain thing the day prior that then is like the hangover effect for the following day.
Absolutely.
So it's like these things that you think you're not worthy of because you're a mom and a wife and you've got work and all this stuff. The back burner life turns into resentment. It turns into self-loathing on yourself. And what happens is you're not operating at a high level anymore. So you're not showing up for your kids at a high level anymore either.
Yeah.
They need to see you taking care of yourself and like, okay, mommy's strong. Like she's doing this so she can be better for you versus, a lot of people like to use that excuse and then they're laying around not doing anything with their kids anyway. They're just existing there. And of course that happens. Like we're all human, but like, how can you be intentional with making sure you're taken care of so you can better take care of them on a whole other like, level as a parent?
Right.
Okay, so her schedule's been crazy. She had a lot going on. How did you make Bulletproof work in your life? Because you were telling me a little bit prior to the call, like how you would do certain things. You can even explain what it's like a little bit in your words, because I talk about it all the time.
Well, first I had both my children while I was getting both degrees. So I'm pretty familiar with schoolwork and children. Granted, neither one of them were like as mobile as they are now. So evening time is the best time. My kids have a strict bedtime. So when they're in bed, that's when I would watch your videos. But I would take the homework. I printed all of that out the first week, knowing that like if I don't have time to sit down at the computer and do all of the computer stuff, at least I have this with me. And we took a trip to San Francisco at the beginning of September, the end of September, and we're literally on the go all the time. So having that printable version was a saving grace for me. Anytime there's quiet time, like Dorian's at school, Max is playing, just take it out, go through it. And also your stuff, there was a couple times where I would like cheat and go ahead. Because really it doesn't.
And like the way it's set up, just so that they know, it's all on an online platform. You have a name, password, like to log in, and then you have your modules. But we have it to where it they call it dripping, so you don't get it all at once. We might change that, but basically, so it's not overwhelming. So you just do little bits at a time. But anyway, go ahead.
But the workbook, you can print all of it out.
Yep.
So that's what the workbook was like my crutch the whole time. And I think that was for me the most beneficial too, because even after I completed it, I could still have it with me in those moments where you just need a quick reminder of like, all right, listen, number one, like I paid for this course, like I'm doing this, Yep. And number two, like these are your answers, these are your responses, and no one else had access to them. So I could literally write down whatever I wanted on these papers and then use them continuously throughout the course. There was a lot of times I would go back and reflect on earlier weeks. But with kids, you just, again, prioritize and just make time. I mean, you're not literally doing something with them all day long every day, but I just found it easier in the evenings when they're asleep to really delve into like your work and your stuff that you were giving to us.
When you said that having the workbook, because it used to be worksheets, and I'm like, I personally like just printing off one thing and just having it done, so you don't have to keep printing things off. So like making it more user friendly. But you said that was your favorite part. Like, why do you think that is?
Well, I do better when I'm actually doing. I'm a doer.
Mm-hmm.
So sitting and listening to videos and doing anything computer related. Um, I'm going to self-diagnose here. Maybe I have some like adult ADHD. I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And also because I'm someone who's obsessed with like my to-do list, there's a million and one things I have to do today.
Mm-hmm.
So I might be listening to your video and doing dishes. I
Yep.
might be reading through something while I'm cooking.
Yep.
I might be like there, you know what I mean? So
But
nothing.
that's what it's for, you know?
Yeah. And so, but then I also felt like I wasn't giving it 100% of my attention because I was multitasking the whole time. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why I like the workbook, because it required me to sit down and give it 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And again, too, I felt like it was just a lot more personal.
Mm-hmm.
So almost like your own, not diary, but maybe a little bit like,
Mm-hmm. It's kind of you're able to meet yourself again. It's
yeah,
like, oh, hello.
yeah,
Where you been?
yeah.
Okay, so I don't even know the answer to this one yet, but this is a question that I ask, like, what 3 things did you gain? Like, what words would you describe did you gain from Bulletproof? I love hearing these because they always surprise me. And sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, you did learn that.
So for me, there was a lot of like lost hope
Mm-hmm.
prior to starting this course. Like I'd kind of just thrown in the towel. There was this is who I am, folks. Like it's not going to get any better. I think I definitely regained hope
Mm-hmm.
throughout this. Another thing that I would say I have not been great at in recent years is forgiveness to
Mm-hmm.
myself.
Yep.
Um, I think it's so important to know that, especially if you are someone who struggles with perfectionism, you have to be willing to let go and forgive yourself for not
Mm-hmm.
completing. You put yourself at a much higher standard than you probably should.
Mm-hmm.
Or I shouldn't say that. Maybe your expectations are a lot harder to reach than what you think that they should be.
Mm-hmm.
And so just forgiving yourself for, you know, I told you this before, I think before we went live. You can't start a course like this and expect in 6 weeks' time that you will never struggle again with any of these
Yep.
issues.
Yep.
So forgive yourself. That would be one thing I think I've really learned to appreciate through this course.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a long time since there's been like confidence exuded through me. So I think there's been a newfound confidence,
Mm-hmm.
and not the kind of confidence that you air when you're 16 years old.
Yeah.
The kind of confidence that you exhibit when you've lived life and you've had children or struggled relationships, or you've survived it all, so
Mm-hmm.
you should be confident in knowing that whatever is next, you can get through that as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I love those. I love the forgiveness one too the most. I think out
Me
of all of
too.
them. Because it's true. I mean, all of them. It's like, but I think that one's such a big thing. It's like, this time went on and you realize that you've been your own bully. You've been the one staying in your own way. And instead of beating yourself up more for being your own bully and being in your own way, just be like, you know what? That's where we were. We're not there anymore. We're working through it. We're going to catch ourselves, call it out when it's happening, and it's not going to have power over me.
Right.
And I feel like the word to me, bulletproof, is just like, it's resilient, it's unstoppable, it's just like it's that confidence. Like, what does it represent to you? It may mean those words too. It just, everybody has their own take.
This is one of the first things we did in the course. And so I did it not knowing what exactly I might find through the course.
Mm-hmm.
But it still rings true. I feel like bulletproof is just being comfortable in your own skin, being who you are and confident in that.
Yep.
But I think it's very powerful too. I think that's probably the word I would use more than anything, is being powerful. I mean, if you can't beat yourself up, nobody else can.
Amen. Yes.
So
Yes.
I would say powerful would be the biggest term I would use to describe what bulletproof is.
Mm-hmm. I had someone say, it's Rachel who went through the program. We discovered like that boundaries were a thing that you kind of learn when you go through, which I didn't really even think about, but that you almost have the shield on where you're like protecting yourself so you can love on the people that matter the most in your life. And so now you're bully proof instead of bulletproof. You're bully
Yeah.
proof. So it's like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm not going to let you affect me because I'm not letting me affect me anymore.
Right.
So I love that. So even though you did the DIY version, I think it's so important. You kind of already touched on a little bit that you liked the fact that you didn't have to have meetings. You didn't have to schedule anything. You just made it work with your schedule. What was it like to work with me as far as in the program? Like me being the coach, you watching the stuff, me being the one that was teaching you things. What was that like?
So I don't know if this is because I know you a little bit outside of this, but I think the accountability aspect is still there, whether you're doing this on your own or not. I mean, you weren't heavily involved in this journey for me because that's the way you designed this DIY portion, but you still checked in frequently. I still receive your emails all the time. And when you think of something new, you still shared that. So I think no matter which part of this course you choose to do, you remained encouraging and held me accountable the whole way through. So that's what I enjoyed. I enjoyed the occasional check-ins and the occasional chats, DMing each other. So yeah, it was a really good experience for me. That's exactly because I didn't want, even though I wanted to do it on my own, I didn't want to feel left behind either. Like, okay, here it is. Enjoy. Let me know at the end.
Go learn how to swim.
Right. So yeah, I think that working with you was, in this way for me did really well for me.
Yay. Okay, so who's Bulletproof for? I mean, you've shared a lot, and I feel like people are going to resonate with different parts. But like, who do you think it's for? Like, if
I think anybody. I mean, well, number one, I don't think that there's anyone that doesn't have any sort of negative energy from themselves coming back on them. I mean, that's life. Yep. So I don't think that this course is not for anyone. I think it's for everyone. I think especially people who are navigating through different things in life right now. And I don't want to say that men wouldn't get anything from this, because I absolutely think they would. But I think us women, we put ourselves through a lot more than men do. And so that's why I think if you were going to highlight any group of people, just women in general might get a little bit more from this. But yeah, anyone who has ever gone through anything in the past, whether it's food related or not. I mean, if you have any negative self-talk at all, then this is absolutely beneficial.
And I think it's the neat thing that you had talked about before is knowing it's for anyone. It's like a foundational thing that instead of trying to do all the surface level, like this is a foundational rooted thing. And then all you're going to do is keep building on top of that, just like you guys are moving into are you building or a new house? Where is it?
No, we just bought a home.
Okay, so you're not going to have to like do everything, but same kind of thing. You want to make sure that it has a strong foundation, and then you can grow and build. So I've already thought once we're done, I'm like, I've got more resources. You need to read these or do this, or and that's the thing that makes you more excited to work on yourself, because by working on yourself, you're going to show up more. And the fact that you were in sales is extremely vulnerable. It's confidence based. Like when you have you sell more. So whether or not it's friendships or relationships, the relationship with yourself, all that stuff. So any additional advice, things that you didn't get to say, things you want to leave them with? What's next for you?
Well, so one of your questions in one of your emails was about like quotes or mottos.
I can't hear you now.
I think it's important to know that you didn't get where you are today overnight. So if you are struggling with your weight or negative self-talk or whatever your challenges or struggles are, it didn't start yesterday, and it's not going to take one day or 6 weeks to completely conquer them. So be forgiving to yourself and give yourself time. to heal. And also just take it one day at a time. Don't get yourself so worked up with too much in the future, because that is setting yourself up for failure. So just one day at a time,
Just
one little thing at a time.
I always used to say that with clients when I was training them, like physically training them, like, it's just one more set. It's just 10 more reps. Like, keep the just in front of it. It's not that bad. Yeah. They're like, Meg, it's bad. Well, I am so proud of you. This is so big. Like, I really, really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. Because as you share, you know, you're going to be the Amy to someone else. How cool is that? You know what I mean? And then maybe your kiddos will watch now or one day in the future, or your hubby and, you know, your family and all that stuff. So I'm really proud of you. I'm excited you did this, and I'm excited that you trusted me enough to be the DIY coach.
Yeah. And thank you for setting all this up.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I hope that you're ready to make the plunge too. Don't be the one standing in your own way. I love this stuff. You heard it from her straight exactly about what all happened. So it's just a course. It's just coaching, right?
One course, just one course.
All right. Well, if you want to know more information, or even reach out to Sam, like, she would be happy to dive in deeper if you're really asking for more insight or questions. You know, she's an open book too. So yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, guys. Until next time. See you later.